してくれと免疫通りのサイコフラフラ歩き回るマリオネ青にさいな私かくらたいやな匂いの口づけまるでマチファイス楽園手招いてるゆらゆら目からの二行動私をグラグラ揺すっているしらしらした私を見つめて気に入らないな蹴り刻んでしまうよ飛び散った知識のファンファーレとりあえず楽しいよ今だけはさ巡り合ってしまうよ逃げ出してしまいたくなる人にちっぽけな生き様をどうにかしたくてさ愛も欲しいけどさ蘇ってしまうよあなたのためならいくらでも間違いも愛せるよバカなもんでさ言い換えてしまうよあなたがくれた命だからかっこつけて泣いてるよ愛が欲しくてさ刻んでしまうよ飛び散った知識のファンファとりあえず楽しいよ今だけはさ巡り合ってしまうよ逃げ出してしまいたくなる人にちっぽけな生き様をどうにかしたくてさ愛が欲しくてさ欲しくてさ
消える踏切と曲がるはずの容疑者と聞けるはずないからの音楽ゆらり文字を踊り出す駅から今日は人が出てきたこうやってバカ騒ぎで分かったふりして何もしないあの日から止まるんだ今日もこの場所誰も見えはしない誰
だ夢は安泰な暮らしだが刺激不足上にダラダラ照らすは闇もだの歩き慣れていた道はどこだ時はたまにじゃったがぬくもりに包まれたら本能があったシルベの方へ思い出すは優しいメロディー永遠はないだろうないだろうよそれもまたいいなと笑ってみる輝けばいつかは光も絶え僕らは命の火が消えるその日まで歩いてゆけところでなぜ僕らは思考を急にやめているんだ夢は安泰な暮らしだが知識不足はにハラハラ食せずや匂うがにすがりついたまま朽ちてくんだここはゴーダウなだが傷跡がひりつきただ水面が立つ光の方へ手を取るは新しいメモリー夜空が分かつシルベの方へ遮るは堅苦しいセオリー永遠はないだろうないだろうよやっぱ苦しいなど泣いてみる風船もいつかはしぼむが割れる僕らは命の泉を守り続けて繋いでゆけ学びきれずに卒業伝えきれずに実践遊びきれずに決別ブレードさえ地獄じゃあるまいして音が出る玩具も痛みを飛ばすものも全部僕にとっての宝物永遠はないだろうないだという僕らは命の火が消えるその日まで歩いてゆけと現実に一石を閉じて個性を磨け軽快なやむなんだよまた一つ消去頭からケツまでそれが我がエンタメだまだ信じないさ紐解いたシャナイチケットバスでもっと舞い上がって Everybody put your hands up さあフライ翼になれ見てみたいな宇宙になれる君今が成長期 たれてのは天国かはたまた地獄かキックマットブックマットちょっとした幸せ目指してね張って生きてたいだけフラットのヘッド夢詰め込んでいくなレッド押し殺してんだマスマスのまだしてねこんなまんまじゃくたばりきんねエンジン一つで飛び起きてちゃそうなハッピーで埋め尽くしてレッスンピースまで行こうぜいつか見た地獄のいいところはばらまいて I love you け出してくれ全部奪って笑ってカメラに Don't look me like beauty star Don't look me like beauty star Don't look me like beauty star なんか忘れちゃってんだ未来はブーススター努力未来はブーススター努力未来はブーススター努力未来はブーススター愛を込めて今パーティーを開こうぜタフなやつが一等賞キックマックまたキックマックノーベルもエジソンも知ったこっちゃないから前だけ見つめてキックマックとブックマック単純にそして簡単に生きてられりゃそれでいいがそれを掴むこと自体は簡単じゃないんだな私たちの後がずっと根に染みついてやまないショックも闇も引き裂いてきそうなラッキーが救ってくれ話したいの愛詰め込んでなんでもない映画のいいところをどう伝えようか I love you 届いてくれ全部捨てだって足りない全然 Don't look me like beauty star Don't look me like beauty star Don't look me like beauty star なんか変えらんないなずっとキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラキックラハッピーで丸に突き刺さ線電線の絡まるまでのブレンドの髪波が線に下されて食べられて所詮雨が降っても消えない汚れをあなたは隠してる薄く口こうしたフィネスには似合笑ってる善悪すら通じないまん丸の大きな瞳で多分振る舞った狂気の悪魔が劣るきっと飽きるまで劣るだろうガッと飛んだ詳細奇跡のような酸っぱい匂いがまた充満していたな愛にすがって落ちてゆくただそれでも心はついてる衝動的で少しは撤退あなたが綺麗でなくれなずんでいく切なの青春がこの瞬間に始まった気がした退屈しのきばっか人生は死ぬまで終わんないあの日聞いた夢は鼓膜の中鳴りやまんない頭が焼けるように熱くなって大切なもんが全部なくなったわ夜中に泣いた銃声それが胸を貫いた瞬間生きてると実感したんだわ心臓ばっか揺れているまた懲りもせず愛を探している
熟無情されど美しくあれ。ノティスティにふさわしくない、こんなんじゃきっと物足りないくらい語っとけばうまくいくものかね、愛こともう自己顕示
あの日リンゴの木の下共犯で踏み越えてみた境界線すぐにプラカの怒りで追い立てられてこんな次元へ俺としたことが俺ごときですら俺に限っていやまさかね君のせいにした秘密を手にした一軸の葉が右左あっという間目が覚めるかと思えば空に落ちてゆくなんというかやめられぬもう一かじり Again falling falling less than Johnny 落ちてゆく待てろに今 falling falling 二人ぼっち気づかないカテゴリーにもどこまでも好み任せていつの間に傷が埋まってく そこじゃ何から何までごったにで鬼も仏も同じ目全てシャッターでどうかしてる俺ら鼻から大真面目振りほどいてきた後ろ指ですらむしろ追い風さまらたんで蛇に睨まれた歴史のあだばない面にはまだくしつらんであっという間染められるかと思えば熱が冷めてゆくちょっと待ってその前にもうひとしずく Again falling falling less than Johnny 落ちてゆく待てろに今 falling falling 二人ぼっち気づかないカテゴリーにもどこまでも好み任せていつの間に傷が埋まってく Again falling falling less than Johnny 落ちてゆく待てろに今 falling falling 二人ぼっち気づかないカテゴリーにもどこまでも好み任せていつの間に傷が埋まってくこの血が冷めないうちに飲み干してめまいするほど気取って取り留めない出会い目をつけてこの目が覚めないうちに取り込んで先輩空ごと突き抜けてバリ水と味二人ハマってく Yeah 石不足上にダラダラ照らすは闇もだの歩き慣れていた道はどこだ時はたまにじゃったがぬくもりに包まれたら本村があったシルベの方へ思い出すは優しいメロディー永遠はないだろうないだというそれもまたいいなと笑ってみる輝けたいつかは光も絶え僕らは命の火が消えるその日まで歩いてゆけところでなぜ僕らは思考を急にやめているんだ夢は安泰な暮らしだが知識不足
Yeah, I don't want to make the same mistake.
Piracy shit. The whole idea behind pirates is stealing. Stealing the booty. And in this case, stealing your money for, once again, a remote island extravaganza. Billy McFarland has learned nothing. He went to jail for this same fucking thing, and he's doing it again. That is poetic. I couldn't imagine a character being written this stupid. No one would believe it. He is actually a real-life version of Ed from Ed, Edd n Eddy, but instead of just saying buttered toast, the only thing that runs through this guy's absolutely damaged cranium is party. And he's not even good at partying. He doesn't even successfully have a party, ever. He's so fucking horrible at partying that he goes to jail when he tries. It blows my mind. I've watched 2 interviews of his since being fresh out of prison, and he is observably stupid. Listening to Billy McFarland defend himself and speak publicly is like listening to someone fart through a walkie-talkie for 30 minutes. It's just garbled nonsense that leaves his mouth. I probably can't show any of the interview clips, but here's one of the quotes from one of them. I was talking to somebody yesterday and they're like, you can crawl in a hole and die, or you can go and try to do something and just like not promise any results, McFarland said. You absolute goofball. He seems to believe that the reason he got spanked by the legal process is because he promised things that he wasn't able to deliver on. That's only a small component of it. It is so much more than that. You maliciously defrauded people, took $26 million, and delivered nothing. So by throwing this festival again and not promising anything, if you still just have people show up to a vacant, empty place to stand in sand for days, you're still scamming them, even if you didn't promise that fucking Cardi B's gonna perform or whatever. Yeah, like, I don't know why that's such a hard concept for him to understand. He's selling a festival, but what he delivered is basically a fucking pile of sand for people to stand in for a wildly high price. This would be like if I made a game and I charged $60 for it, like a AAA title, and then you bought the game, but the only thing there was just a completely empty, open terrain, Unity asset flip. There's nothing in it. You're in a giant empty bubble. Like, yeah, you know, technically this is a game. You bought it, now you're in that game. But you still got fucking scammed by me because there's really nothing there when you went under the assumption that there would be. Just let me rub your nose in this one more time. McFarlane insists it's not a festival. It features a slew of influencers and creators. The purported tropical experience will include virtual reality technology that the company says will allow users to participate and control what happens on the island in real time from home. Absolutely no shot. Who does this guy think he is? Tony Stark? Like, what do you mean? You already made this technology? You have an entire development studio behind you that made a virtual reality experience to control what happens on the island in real time? You slimy salamander, you couldn't deliver more than a handful of deli meat sandwiches to an island. How the fuck is anyone supposed to believe that you're going to deliver a virtual reality experience on an island and this time around it won't be a disaster? When you're promised, well, sorry, I won't use the P word, that's blasphemy around these parts when it comes to Billy McFarland now. How are you insinuating that this might actually happen without being a complete catastrophe? I also can't believe he's making the bold-faced lie about influencers and creators signing on for this. There is no way. If any influencer or creator actually ties their name to this, it's career suicide. This is a bigger scam than CryptoZoo with Logan Paul. No one would recover from the pushback from their audience. They would be laughed off the internet if they actually tried promoting Pirate Festival here. There's just no way he has any connections to anyone, and there's no way anyone would actually sign on to this. If I'm wrong about that, and there actually is creators that sign on to this, you should know never to trust those people again going forward. That would be a massive red flag. That's a goddamn villain at that point. You probably don't even need to read the rest of this here, but I'll still put it on screen anyway. Former employees and people that were tight with Fyre Festival are warning about Billy, saying Billy's still Billy, he's using different words but selling the same thing. Similarities are there around the vague, mysterious promotion. Pirate appears to be an exercise in smoke and mirrors, buzzword and empty promises of lavish trips to the Bahamas. It's just everyone coming out to letting people know what should be obvious. Don't put money into Billy McFarland or anything he dribbles out of his asshole. You're just asking to lose it. If you're considering getting tickets to Pirate Festival or investing, then I would strongly recommend seeking psychiatric evaluation for what's gone so awry in your life to lead you to making such recklessly awful financial decisions. That wad of cash that you're considering giving to Billy McFarland and his production, I would highly encourage you to take it and just put it in your trash can and then light the trash can on fire. That's a better use of it than giving it to Billy McFarland. Oh yeah, I even forgot to mention, there's a treasure hunt that he's putting on as well with Pirate. So when you go to their website, it's all about this treasure hunt. So it's join the crew, a pirate is someone who turns the impossible into adventure. That's a pretty wild play on piracy, unless we're just talking about One Piece. Usually, pirate refers to, once again, stealing. And I guess treasure hunting. But usually at the expense of someone. Right now, the treasure Billy McFarland is hunting for is a way out of $26 million in debt. And do you want to be his lifeline, his little life raft to get the fuck out of there? I certainly hope not. He doesn't deserve it. This idea is bad, so bad, that it should be considered criminal activity that he's even considering it and looking to actually put it on. Billy McFarland is one of the biggest fraudsters in history, and he is looking to do it again. I guess he wasn't happy with being just one of the biggest fraudsters. He wants to be the biggest fraudster. So he's hoping lightning strikes twice with yet another bogus festival full of dog shit, empty promises, and under-delivering. To put it lightly, it didn't deliver at all. It wasn't under-delivering. It just never even came close to anything that he talked about. But this time around, he's not making huge promises and he's not on a strict deadline, so he's saying it's going to be totally different. Which it won't be. There's absolutely no chance. So yeah, I just thought this was a pretty wacky story I wanted to share. That's about it. So yeah. I have some fantastic news for all of you today. A heartwarming story so wholesome, this kind of spirit could make the Grinch's heart grow 3 sizes. Today, it was made clear to a lot of people that I was right all along. They're finding out what I've known since the beginning of time, that James Corden is an unentertaining asshole, whom is an absolute detriment to everything he's in. His presence makes the media that he infests worse. He is the worst part of the movies he is in. He is this miasma of unentertainment, the antithesis of fun. And today, he has been banned from a New York restaurant because he is a massive dickhead as well. Now, as you know, I've been preaching this like the gospel for years now. He's perhaps my least favorite celebrity, and I hold a personal grudge against him because he once took down a video I made tier listing his most embarrassing moments throughout his career. The video remained on my channel for about 15 minutes before it was manually taken down by his team, and I hold him personally accountable for that sin. Now, I've never met James Corden, and I've only ever heard rumors that he's insufferable to be around and pretty mean in general. I remember there was a comedy team that played a prank on him that made him like late for work, and he came across really bad there. There's also been a lot of stories from people that have either worked for him or met him where they said he was a real asshole. But to me, the biggest crime he'd ever committed in my eyes was just being cringe. I've never disliked him because of the stories I heard about him. That was just the cherry on top of how much I dislike his presence in all of the movies and shows that he somehow infests. He's just been in so much shit and makes it even worse. So let's go over the situation here today. James Corden's just one of those people where whenever I read something like revealing more about him being an asshole, I can't help but like almost celebrate a little bit, like wiggle my finger. You know, maybe I even stand up and hit a little boogie with it. Oh, what's that? The SpongeBob? Huh? Oh, James Corden's being an asshole? Oh, you don't say. Weird. It's almost like I knew it from the get-go. Whoop. Now hit him with the jerk. Now, before showing the manager reports here, I need to make it known that this has been a confirmed true story. This isn't just pulled out of someone's ass. James Corden has apologized for his actions here, and the owner of the restaurant has accepted the apology and says that he's rescinding the ban on him and he's welcome to come back. I think he should have stuck to his guns, because now the only reason he's apologizing is because of public pressure, because this became such a huge story, it went viral. It's not that James Corden is actually apologetic, he just knows that it's a PR disaster, so he's trying to save face. So here's the full statement from the owner of the restaurant. Their name is Keith McNall, and they said this about James Corden. James Corden is a hugely gifted comedian. I'm going to stop you right there, Keith. We're not even a full sentence deep, and I've just got to make a quick correction here. He's not gifted, nor would he be considered a comedian by most people. He is like the most plain, boring person you could think of, like a default character in PC. Well, regardless, he continues, a hugely gifted comedian, but a tiny cretin of a man, and the most abusive customer to my Balthazar servers since the restaurant opened 25 years ago. I don't often 86 a customer, but today I 86'd Corden. It did not make me laugh. That statement does make me laugh, though. That's just so blunt. Calling him a cretin and then 86ing him, saying it didn't make him laugh. Here's two examples of the funny man's treatment of my staff. Keith is coming in here with the claws. He's fuming, and rightfully so. I've said this a million times. I'll say it a million more. I'll scream it from the mountaintops. Anyone who is rude to anyone in the customer service industry, waitresses, waiters, cashiers, whatever, anyone who is a dick to them, a fucking douchebag to them, is a completely worthless piece of shit. Plain and simple. It takes a special kind of evil to mistreat someone in the service industry like that. I also haven't heard the term 86th since SpongeBob with 86 those patties, crabs. So that was kind of a cool throwback there. So let's look at manager report number 1. In June, James Corden was here on table 61. Although this is diabolical, it happens very occasionally in all restaurants. After eating his main course, Corden showed the hair to Balthazar's manager, G, who was very apologetic. Corden was extremely nasty to G and said, "Get us another round of drinks this second and also take care of all our drinks so far. This way I write any nasty reviews in Yelp or anything like that." So this sounds like a pretty big blow up over something pretty minor. Yeah, it's yucky finding a hair in your food. It happens. Most people just suck it up and move on. But I also don't think there's any shame in being like, hey, I found this hair in here, just was hoping I could maybe place another order or get this replaced. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that. Just being respectful about it because, you know, accidents happen. It's something that just unfortunately happens from time to time. I'm a legitimate hypochondriac, and even I, when I find a hair in my food, pick it out and still finish it. But I do understand why someone wouldn't. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong to be like, hey, can I, maybe just place another order? I think that's fine. There's no reason to call the manager over, yell at them, and then demand another round of drinks and threaten to leave a nasty review, right? Like, I think that's blowing it way out of proportion. Now let's move on to the second manager report. James Corden was at Balthazar with his wife on October 9th for brunch. He asked for a table outside. Brunch maitre d' Allie Walters took the party to table 301. Mr. Corden's wife ordered an egg yolk omelet with Gruyere cheese and salad. A few minutes after they received the food, James called the server MK and told her there was a little bit of egg white mixed with the egg yolk. MK informed the floor manager G. The kitchen remade the dish, but unfortunately sent it with home fries instead of salad. That's when James Corden began yelling like crazy to the server, "You can't do your job. You can't do your job. Maybe I should go into the kitchen and cook the omelet myself." MK was very apologetic and brought G over to the table. He returned the dish, and after that, everything was fine. He gave them promo champagne glasses to smooth things out. G said that Corden was pleasant to him but nasty to the server. MK was very shaken, but professional that she is, continued to finish her shift. So this one I think is a little bit more indicative of the real personality of James Corden. If something is slightly not up to his standards, he loses his temper about it. I think that's very par for the course from all the stories I've read about him, from workers as well as people that have met him, as well as that brief segment where you can see him kind of blowing up in the comedy sketch at his expense. He just seems like the kind of person that is very entitled and feels like they're superior to just normal people around him. So in that entitlement, he fucking blows up at them. Oh, I'll go back there and cook it then. You guys can't do your jobs. Disgusting. I spit on you fucking plebeians. This is disgraceful. You sent me a dish with house fries instead of a salad? Are you trying to kill me? This is poison. And the fact that he shamelessly has done this twice now, and this one apparently in front of his wife, blows my mind. How anyone can do this in front of other people, especially people they care about, is something that will never compute with me. How do you not get embarrassed? No, this isn't like a tough guy thing. This doesn't make you look alpha. This doesn't make you look like a strong man. This makes you look like a little bitch. You look like an absolute douchebag, weak little man. As Keith calls him, a tiny cretin of a man. Why are you getting so upset at the server who did nothing to slight you? They didn't insult you. Everything that happened wasn't on purpose. It wasn't an attack against you. Sending the dish with house fries instead of a salad is an easy solution. Just be like, oh, I actually wanted the salad. And then bang, they'll go get you the salad, I imagine. They're not going to sit there and like challenge you to fisticuffs like, I will not get you the salad, and I'm throwing the gauntlet down. Oh, put him up, Corden. Like, it's just such an easy thing to calmly handle. But I guess not for James Corden here. So these were the two manager reports. Now, of course, this isn't anything like crazy. James Corden didn't flip the table and throw water in the face of the server or anything. But even still, this kind of behavior I never have any tolerance for. There is just never an excuse to be rude, mean, nasty, yell and scream at anyone in the service industry. For honest mistakes, there's no excuse for it. Now, if the servers were coming up to him and slapping him around and telling him, hey, idiot, you're stupid, and I hate your talk show, then maybe I'd understand and being like, hey, that kind of hurts. I'm a little upset about that. But they're just doing their job, right? They're just doing their job and getting by. There's just never a reason to be mean to someone in the service industry. So yeah, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit because whenever James Corden fails and makes a fool of himself, I can't help but smile and just take it back from a distance as a spectator sport and be like, yep, that's James Corden for you. You guys are seeing this, right? So I was right. Even though I know most people agree that James Corden isn't entertaining. So it's a very cold take, but it's one that I just keep mentioning anytime that it's brought up. So really, that's about it. So yeah. January 3rd is a date that had more importance to me than my own birthday, because that was the day Logan Paul said he was going to respond to CoffeeZilla's investigative series on his CryptoZoo project. Throughout a year-long investigation conducted by CoffeeZilla, he produced 3 videos that highlighted that CryptoZoo was a scam, and told the story of tons of victims who lost money and went over how it got to that point and what went on behind the scenes. Logan Paul stated that he would be responding to all the allegations on January 3rd. And he did, in a remarkably baffling way. So January 3rd rolled around, and it was this very sad wet fart of a response from Logan Paul. He released a 7-minute video where he addressed none of the actual claims that had evidence backing them, and avoided all of the actual hard-hitting facts that CoffeeZilla was providing, without giving his side of anything. Instead, he just started attacking the character of CoffeeZilla, and throwing out wild accusations with nothing to back up his claims in his own video, which makes him very hypocritical in that sense, such as him stating at the very beginning that CoffeeZilla's been getting information wrong because he's turned into a gossip channel, without ever showing any of the things he's gotten wrong recently, and then saying that he tried to work in law enforcement but was turned away for being not truthful and his work often being speculative, of which he provides no sources to where he got that, so I imagine he reached into his colon and pulled it out like a little dingleberry. So his video wasn't the best when it came to proving his innocence. So he then released a podcast episode yesterday going over it deeper. However, it's not deep at all. this shit is shallower than a micro penis. It doesn't go anywhere. It's still the very surface level shit where he doesn't actually talk about any of the evidence-backed claims that CoffeeZilla makes against him, his team, and his project. It's an hour and 20 minutes of them trying to play the victim here, and it's so shameless at one point that he even begins reading a letter that he supposedly received from a fan that made him tear up, talking about how great of a person Logan is and how he has such a kind heart, and then Logan tears up on the podcast again. None of this has anything to do with the CoffeeZilla investigation or CryptoZoo, so it just seems like he's farming sympathy points for some reason. It's just not good at all. This is actually significantly worse than his 7-minute response video. Now, he does reinforce that he will be suing CoffeeZilla for defamation for his investigative series on CryptoZoo, which leads me to believe that Logan Paul is truly surrounded by absolute fucking troglodytes. There is nobody in Logan Paul's immediate circle that gives him good advice. A defamation case is extremely hard to win, in even the best of circumstances. But you have a shady crypto company that a ton of people lost a ton of money on, and you're suing a guy who investigated it for a year and provided nothing but an unbiased, objective look at the facts. No matter how you want to spin it, it is objective as it gets. Logan Paul seems to believe that CoffeeZilla highlighted him as a malicious, evil supervillain, which are his words, not mine. But in the actual investigation videos, you can see CoffeeZilla multiple times mentions that he can't pin the blame on any one person, and in fact focuses more highly on the other two people, Jake the Crypto King and Eddie Ibanez, than Logan Paul. So to win a defamation case, you not only have to prove that the information is incorrect, you have to prove that it was knowingly incorrect by the person who put it out there publicly. You have to prove there was malicious intent. You would have to somehow prove that CoffeeZilla knew all of this information was wrong, published it anyway for the sole purpose of hurting your image. And that's a very difficult thing to prove, because you can make tons of arguments that CoffeeZilla, even if things are wrong, which so far Logan Paul's proven nothing wrong, aside from one of the victims in the testimonials being shady, aside from that he's proven nothing, he would then have such a solid defense regardless, because he investigated and just provided like facts of information he gathered from Logan Paul's own team. So he would have a very strong case of, this isn't defamation, I was doing a public service by bringing all of this information to light. Like, it's an unwinnable case for defamation, and I have to imagine Logan Paul knows that and just wants to bully CoffeeZilla legally and cost him a lot of money to hurt him, which is fucked up. That is malicious and supervillain-like, Logan. Of course, I'm no lawyer, but I am at least somewhat familiar with how defamation cases usually go, because when someone's feelings get hurt, they always try and sue for defamation for some reason. It's pretty cringe. Now, another thing that I want to mention before showing the podcast moments is Logan Paul is so delusional that he actually is using the defense of him hiring criminals makes him innocent. So in his response video, he's like, "You talked to my developer that stole the code for $1 million. Did you know that that developer is actually a convicted criminal?" And then showcases his criminal history, as if that makes Logan Paul look better or innocent. Logan, you hired 3 criminals to run this with you. That makes you look much, much worse and much more guilty. Oh, no, guys, it's not me that was bad. I hired 3 criminals. I brought together the Suicide Squad here to run this crypto company. It's them that were bad. It's not my fault. Why are you getting mad at me? I just hired the criminals. Obviously, you're responsible for the team you put together. You are liable for 2 of them stealing $7.7 million from the project here. That is your fault. I don't know why you keep falling back on, no, it's just that those criminals that did it, not me. Like, it's such a fucking stupid defense. I already did get kind of the spoilers that he really just repeats what he said in his video, which is nothing. Even in this hour and 20 long podcast, he doesn't actually debunk any of CoffeeZilla's claims.
Always trying to get attention, and now he doesn't give a fuck about us, so he's not going to speak out about it until this other dude's going to speak out, and now this is going to talk now.
Great question.
What was the question? He was just like spitting a fact. Now, I know these are just like his lackeys, and his point is like, this is all wrong, but it wasn't even a question. He's just like, he's just like, right. Like, the only thing he failed to mention there is that it was a scam. But everything else, yeah, I mean, he's like, right. It's not like you were going to talk about CryptoZoo the next day or something. If CoffeeZilla never made the video telling the victim's story, this would have stayed just buried, fading into obscurity.
Here are some receipts. Again, just for context. His name's Steven. The first time he reached out to me was on Christmas Eve after he released his series.
Logan, big guy. Coffee already posted the receipts. He reached out to you directly on Instagram, which was your only means of communication, by the way, since you blocked him, over a year ago. When that was a dead end, he reached out to your manager multiple times asking to talk directly to you. Jeff left him on red. It wasn't until every other avenue was burned that he called your manager, Jeff. Those receipts were already posted. But you are right, he did reach out again on December 24th to your email, again, after exhausting everything else, again, because you have him blocked.
This is big for him. He caught a lot of traction. He gained like 500,000 subscribers, and I'm sure he got a decent amount of money pumping his Patreon. But I am not interested in feeding into that anymore, so we'll be answering the questions that hopefully he was going to ask me and that you're going to ask me today on this podcast.
But that's just so transparently weak. Your offer was for him to fly out to your studio to do it, so couldn't the same argument be made for you? Like, that's not a strong point that you for some reason harp on so heavily. His offer was to just do a general video call. In fact, CoffeeZilla doesn't even do those interviews, video calls on his main channel. He does it on a secondary platform. So it wouldn't even be milking views or anything out of it. It's literally just getting the truth.
Hey, Steven, just wanted to put my response to your scam allegations on your radar, linked below. Even though you broke laws, hardly substantiated your evidence, fabricated dangerously misleading falsehoods, and wrongfully accused me of scamming my fans, I'd still love to host you on Impulsive, again, unmonetized. It can even be one-on.
Hardly substantiated your evidence. I'm going to give him leeway on the breaking laws because even I didn't realize Texas was a one-party consent law when it came to recording conversations on the phone. So he didn't break laws. So that's blatantly wrong, but I'm going to give him leeway because I also didn't realize that that was legal in Texas. But this, fucking yikes. And fabricated, dangerously misleading falsehoods. What, talking to your team of criminals? Like, directly? What do you mean?
If someone scams a person or an organization, they deceive them in order to get something valuable for them, especially money. That is the definition of scam. So my first question, and this question was answered in his series, it was a 5-second blip that was a part of a probably hour-long of documentary, filmmaking, was how much money did you make off the sale of the coin?
Oh, no. Oh, this is so much worse than I would have expected. Just because Logan didn't make the money doesn't mean it wasn't a scam. You know who did make money and 7.7 million's worth? 2 of the other criminals he hired to run it with him, Mike. Yes, it is a scam, even though Logan didn't make the money off of it. Holy shit. I am going to assume this had to have been recorded a week ago or longer. There's no way he recorded this and released it today after his response video and the reception and all of the points made about it. I refuse to believe he is that blissfully ignorant of what's going on. This has to be old. This is wildly bad. This is just... So the setup he's doing here is Coffee refused to come on Impulsive, so instead I'm gonna have my sidekick here make up easy softball questions that we think CoffeeZilla may have asked if he was lobotomized.